Hello everyone, Kent.Bressler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org.
Hello, everybody. This is Kent.Bressler at Kidney Solutions. We're going to do Kent's Kidney Stories and do some podcasting today. I'm very interested in happy to have a really great guest. So let's start it off with prayer this morning. Jesus, we come to you today to ask for help. Thank you for your love, your grace, and peace. We give you our anxious thoughts. Take them from us, Lord. We accept your peace, your love, and your understanding. Help us to turn to you and be still. Help us to stop doing and start trusting. And help us to wait on you. I love you, we love you, and I know that you love us so much more than we could ever imagine. We pray this in your holy name. Amen. Okay, it's good to see everybody. I can't see you, but I can hear you and I can feel you. So we pray that everyone out there is staying healthy. Hope you've had your vaccinations and realize in your heart that this COVID virus has not gone away and probably it's going to be around for a while. So I ask that you protect yourself. This is all on y'all. It's not on anybody else. You just protect yourself and make sure that you're good with it. Also, I want you to know that we at Kidney Solutions want to be of service to you. If you have problems navigating the kidney world, we're here for you. We have no problems, and you know as well as I do that all of our services at Kidney Solutions are free. Just go to kidneysolutions.org. And on that site, if you look at it and really study it, take a little bit of time. I know the world's fast, but you can slow down just long enough to find the blogs that we have. There's a tremendous writer, Jim Myers, who has done quite a few blogs on the site, and they're good reading. They're good for you to understand what's going on in the kidney world. Our podcast, Kent's Kidney Stories, is also there. And we have newsletters, of course. There's newsletters that you can go back. Everything is archived there. Have a phone number, which is my phone number, and you can call me at any time. But the biggest thing about the site is that you can sign up for the kidney support group on Monday night. This is an all-inclusive kidney transplant support group, whether you're on dialysis or whether you've had a transplant or you're looking for a donor. If you're in the kidney space, just come on, and there's a place there for you to give me your email, and you'll get a special invite for Monday night at 6:00. And that 6:00 p.m. is Central Standard Time. Okay. And it'll be a Zoom conference. Of course, we won't expect you to drive out to Kerrville or fly out to Kerrville. This is all online, just like everything is virtual nowadays. So that being said, and you being where you are in your journey, I want to introduce Rahwa Daniel. I met Rahwa on Clubhouse, and it's been a great thing for me to meet her. She's a very interesting individual. She has a great kidney story, and she's looking for a donor. So if you're out there and you are even contemplating, thinking about donating a kidney, whether it be altruistically or you're looking maybe to just spot someone to give your kidney to, this would be someone that you might want to think about. And if you don't, at this point in time, I would like to ask you to make sure you share this with people, this podcast, to let people know that Rahwa needs a kidney. All right. We're praying for her, and so should you. But I'd ask you to spread the word for her. Rahwa, welcome. How are you today?
Hi, Kent. That's so nice. It's nice to hear those warm words, and thank you for letting me come on here today.
Well, I'm excited in the sense that every time I talk to someone who's looking for a kidney, has had a kidney transplant, or is on dialysis, anybody that's in the kidney space has got a special heart spot in my heart. And you be one of the family now, the Kidney Solution family, and we're going to work with you very closely to do as much as we possibly can. Okay.
Thank you.
So let's have just a little bit of background on you. What's the story surrounding Rahwa Daniel?
Yeah. I am born and raised in Texas. My parents are immigrants from Africa. They came in 1980 from a war-torn country. They are refugees. They escaped by foot. And they went to college. They didn't speak any English. They didn't have any money, but they were determined to make a good life here. And so they went to college, and I was born while they were there, and in Texas, and had a healthy life, happy, good childhood, pretty modest, but we never knew that we were living modestly. And then when I was 19, I had always done well in school. I played varsity tennis.
Oh, wow.
I had a couple of pets that I loved and was a good student. And then I got a scholarship to Texas A&M. And I unfortunately started having some health issues. I had been a pharmacy technician since my teenage years, and in the summers I would work a lot of overtime, and I would stand all day, at the counter, and my ankles would start swelling. And I figured, oh, well, it's just, from standing all day, and I was doing a bunch of overtime, and I didn't think much of it. And then headaches started. And I went to the doctor because the over-the-counter stuff wasn't helping, and it didn't go away. And I had started vomiting. I thought I had a stomach virus. Mm-hmm. And it was Valentine's weekend. And I remember I was with my boyfriend at the time, and I figured, no, it's just a stomach virus. I'll be fine. But I figured maybe I should just go and check it out. And turns out that my kidneys had shut down.
Oh, wow.
That was the first time I had heard of it. So I went to the emergency room, and they told me my kidney function was at 6%. And I didn't really know what that meant at the time as a teenager. I was 19. And I said, okay, we'll fix it. I didn't really...
Get busy.
Right. What pill is that? And unfortunately, there isn't just a magic pill or anything that they can do. No. And so that began my kidney journey.
So what was your diagnosis? I know you were in acute renal failure when you went to the emergency room or whatever, but What was your diagnosis?
So it turns out that it was called primary or idiopathic FSGS.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Same thing as me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So basically, to my understanding, it just means that you don't really know why, but your immune system just kind of decided to do a karate kick on your kidneys. And it's developed a lot of scarring to the point where the filters can't filter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that is a classic description of someone with FSGS, undiagnosed, and just how well the body adjusts. I don't know how it's good for the body, but it's good for survival. All along these things that have happened to you, if you go back and look at them, you'll probably pick up on some things that maybe could have forewarned you. But in general, kidney disease is pretty silent, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah. So did you get biopsy? Did they actually do a biopsy of your kidney?
I did. It was like sheer panic alarm, 10 out of
Oh,
10
I'm sure.
at the family because I had never broken a bone before. We barely kept Tylenol and Advil in the house for any of us. So I got a biopsy down in Texas, and then we went all the way over to the Mayo Clinic to see, if they had any other perspectives or opinion.
Sure. Second opinion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the biopsy confirmed that it was FSGS, and it was pretty severe.
Yeah, with a 6%, I would say it was pretty severe. That's the understatement of the year. Yeah. So, okay. So now what happens after you find out your diagnosis and you're 19 years old? So what did we do? How did we go about doing what we did? Kind of explain that.
Yeah, we tried high dose steroids. I did the books and the holistic internet searches and the dandelion juice and the denial phase.
Cherry juice.
Right, we all know them.
We're not laughing, but it's serious disease. But I'll tell you what, that's exactly what you do. You reach for everything in the first phase because you're pretty much in denial, right?
Yeah, we threw the kitchen sink at it.
You betcha.
And fortunately, kitchen sink didn't work, so I had to go on dialysis. And it was difficult. I started at a center, and I did hemodialysis. And when I was there, I actually found a little tiny news clipping article, and I have this. It might sound weird, but I have these connections with kind of like God moments that we all have. And, sometimes it's more distinct than other times. And I remember this is one of those times. And there was a little newspaper clipping under a bunch of other things on the dialysis bulletin board. And it was for matching donors.
Mm-hmm.
And it said that if you're looking for a kidney, then reach out to us. And it was not more than 3 or 4 words, but it just felt kind of strange. And so I did that, and I met my donor on there. And it was incredible. I started through the process. I switched over to peritoneal dialysis and did home treatments. And I got my first transplant with my donor from there down in Texas. And unfortunately, the FSGS returned pretty quickly.
How long?
Pretty quickly, within 2 months or 3 months. Between the 2 or 3 month phase. And I got another biopsy, and they tried thymoglobulin, and were able to save a lot of the function, but it never recovered to 100%. After about 2.5 years or 3 years, the transplant fully rejected.
How old were you then? Roughly 20, 21?
About 22 or
22. Okay. Yeah.
Like that.
Never was good in math.
Yeah. And it was devastating at that, I had, gone back to work and gone back to school, and, felt like I was free of it. But now I was starting to deal with news that sent antibodies are an issue, and I had to learn about antibodies. I found another donor on Matching Donors, and the hospitals in Texas and Colorado, where my donor is from, turned us down and said, you would have better luck finding a needle in a haystack than getting another transplant and getting off of dialysis. And you're going to be on dialysis forever.
Great news.
Yeah. Like we said, I was in my early 20s, and that just wasn't a possibility for me. And so I began my journey. And I came to Johns Hopkins, where I live now in Baltimore. And, they had a program at that time to do plasmapheresis, a desensitization therapy, and to do a swap. And they were super nonchalant, Kent. It was like, oh yeah, we can do it, no problem. What's your calendar like? What's your
We set a date.
Yeah. And it was such a big deal that I figured this is where I need to be. And so we did the transplant. It was pretty difficult in the beginning.
Was that because of the antibodies, or was that because of structure?
Yeah, absolutely. The antibodies came back raging.
Yeah.
They did plasmapheresis treatments before, and then they did them again after. And then I also participated in this study called the Sunrise study, because going through an AMR rejection. And that was, again, 2 to 3. Actually, it was before I was discharged, it started like just a couple of days before.
Almost immediately.
Almost. And then they were able to bring it down. And then about a month in, I was living in the patient recovery home just right next door, so that I could make sure I was there for labs and follow up and all of that.
Yeah.
And it happened again. And it was so scary. I was in the hospital in and out for about 4 months. And I remember it was a very dark time, but, Dr. Montgomery, he said, just stick with me. We're going to get you through this. You're going to be okay.
Good.
And he did. And it gave me 8.5 years. And it was incredible. I went to school again. I got a job as a research coordinator in studying kidney disease at Johns Hopkins, because at this point I had been working in healthcare for so long, and they could tell I was kind of OCD about my labs and about all of the studies. So I got really lucky, and they were generous enough to offer me a job there. So I worked there for 8 years, and I traveled the world. I went to I think the count was like 13 different countries.
Wow.
With friends and by myself, and really just had like a full life that I had really dreamed of. I decided to just live in Baltimore because I had great health care, and this was my chance at safe independence and healthy life.
With backup.
Yeah. Never strayed too far away. But unfortunately, when the pandemic hit, I, since I'm immunocompromised, I developed a respiratory infection. And it was quite severe. I didn't, this was at the peak of the pandemic when I developed a cough. And at that time, if you guys remember, and still really, the symptoms are so confusing. You don't really know, everything you do. If you have an itch on your hand, you think, well, is this a symptom? Or,
Yeah.
if your nose is running, is this, you got to go to Google and ask, but it didn't line up with what they were saying. And so I didn't think I had COVID, and I was quarantining pretty strictly just to kind of
anyway. Yeah.
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 But yeah, I had developed a cough, and unfortunately it had progressed so severely. It turns out that it was pneumonia that I went into lung failure.
The
And
bacterial pneumonia,
I'm
doesn't
not
make
sure.
any difference. It
I'm
wasn't COVID, right? So
It wasn't COVID.
yeah.
Um, and I went into lung failure. My lungs shut down, and I collapsed in my apartment building just as I was looking at the ambulance stretcher coming in to come get me. And between that and being on a ventilator and in the ICU for 2 weeks, my transplant had fully rejected as well. And so it was a difficult period. Yeah.
Yeah. When you think back,
Yeah.
and this is going to make you emotional. I don't want that to happen to you right now. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you look back now on the second transplant, what were your creatinine and GFR? What were your numbers just before you got sick? Were they pretty stable? I'm looking back at the FSGS if it had an effect on it.
Yeah. So the FSGS subsided with this transplant. I didn't have any issues with that, but I had gone to pharmacy school, and I had gone to the graduate program, and it was such an intense program. I remember, sometimes we would spend 2 or 3 days awake studying, and I had developed an infection. And I figured, I'm not taking care of myself, and it's not, this program is too rigorous and intense for me, but I was septic. It was so bad.
Gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And when that happened, my transplant nephrologist told me, once a person becomes septic, then it's more common for their body to do it again.
Yeah.
To get that high. And so my kidney function was affected by that infection, and by one previous to that one as well.
Right.
So it was already kind of on its way out, but it was unknown. It was unknown as far as each particular case, how long it will last, and how long the kidney function will go.
So after rejection, how old were you after the second injection? Because we're doing a track here from 19 years old. Now after your second rejection, you're at how old?
So this was just 2020.
So
I think I was 5 when the pandemic started. It feels like one big long Groundhog's Day, but
for real. And that Nightmare on Elm Street could be another movie we could make. Yeah. So so now we're kind of in a quandary, right? We need another donor, and I know you're already on the list probably for a deceased. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm on the list. I'm on the national list. Since I have such a high antibody count.
Yes. I wanted to talk about that. That's what I want. Yeah. Tell us about this antibody count. Okay. Because that's that's the one that we kind of steered you to our friend Elliot Dr. Heer. Yeah. Tell us about that.
So once a person has either a pregnancy or a blood transfusion or a transplant or something foreign entering their body, then the body remembers it and they develop antibodies to try and protect itself from it if it happens to come back, and even if it's a good thing. So for example, with my transplants, I've developed a bunch of antibodies because of that. And so they have this where they kind of try and develop a statistical analysis of what the probability would be that I would have a rejection against the general population. And so they have this number. It's called a PRA.
PRA, yep.
And it's a scale of 0 to 100. And 0 is like you can is no antibodies, and 100 is like you'll
100% antibody.
Yeah, 100% against the general population.
Mm-hmm.
So my number, and so that's bad. 100 is bad.
That's right. Higher the worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like school. So
No.
9.98 is my number.
99.8.
98. Yep.
Yeah.
0.02 away from 100.
Yes. At the very top of the list of the graph. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that poses a difficulty. Not only do you have FSGS, but you also have these antibodies, right?
Correct.
So what is there corrective action they can take either, to reduce these?
So there is, yes and no. And what I'm learning is that things have changed quite a bit since my last transplant. When I had my previous transplant, there were facilities that were doing plasmapheresis.
Yes.
Pretty regularly. And that's the thing that can really get those antibodies down. And desensitization therapies in general have become less common and less frequent.
Due to what?
So that's an interesting question. I think there are multiple reasons. One, I think that they're trying to find better quality matches in people in order to avoid using any kind of medication or therapy, to try and do it the natural way first.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that, it can be kind of hard on a person's body to take. And then third, I think also there's a cost implication to it, where it's actually a very costly treatment and therapy, and they don't have the amount of resources
Exactly.
for a bunch of people who, unfortunately, kidney transplantation is a form of therapy. It's not a cure. And so more and more people will have this issue as we continue on this path. And so I think that they're finding, more viable solutions other than relying on desensitization alone.
Well, there's a feeling, and you mentioned it too, that, a better match, trying to match people better so that they don't have to go through that, but that can also mean a longer wait. Right. I mean, that's not, that's a great objective, but the outcome's not really spectacular, because there are quite a few people with antibodies, all right, at certain higher levels. And then so that those quote perfect matches are hard to come by, but they do happen. All right. They happen all the time. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's so interesting about this, this percentage, this range, I think about in that 99% range of people like me, how many thousands of people could that be? It sounds.
That was a question I had. I don't know. I guess I should have done my research better, but
yeah.
I don't know what the numbers is. We know how many people are looking for a kidney.
Right.
That's all well over 100,000, but how many of them have this quandary that you have of having a very high PRA? And then to top that off, how many of them how long does average time before they will find a match?
Yes. And it's what I've been thinking about a lot. And,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, for people like me that wait, even though I am pulling from the national list, it's still a very, very
daunting.
Long wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what are you doing to counteract that? I mean, we can talk about the ins and outs of getting the transplant. We you and I know that, and I think the public knows how difficult it is to do living donors and whatnot. What are you doing to mentally and emotionally stay well with this facing you?
Yeah. I have a puppy, Winnie, that's been my loyal and faithful companion.
Uh-huh.
She is a great support for me. And I have a phenomenal support group. I am part of this Clubhouse group that I met you on, Kent, which is really helpful. I have some kidney friends that I've collected along the way that we check in with each other from day to day. My friends and family don't completely understand, because it's pretty complicated, but they support in the best way that they can. And I go to therapy.
Okay, so you do therapy.
Yeah.
Bravo. If I had one of those, Clubhouse claps and all, I'd do that. I'm clapping for you right now. That's great to hear, because I'm going to tell you what, it is a tremendous quandary. And it's something that if you have to address, you can't do it alone, can you?
Yeah. No, not at all.
And I don't want you to feel like you are alone. We have we have great support group at Kidney Solutions too on Monday nights. You're welcome. Anyway, so let's go back into your search. I know you talked with Dr. Heher, and how did you find that experience?
Oh, wonderful. I was very just thankful for the call. He really listened to everything that, my case presented, as complicated as it is. Sometimes I feel guilty about going into all of the detail because it's just a long story. But, he was very patient and understanding of just kind of the circumstances that I'm under. And he offered some insight as far as some of the difficult decisions that I need to make here. And he offered some suggestions too that I hadn't thought about. I felt that maybe one door had been closed, but he kind of offered me a different perspective about
He's that way.
And that was very, very helpful. It's nice to speak with somebody that is, wise enough and really understands with that medical background, to somebody about something so serious.
Well, I can tell you he's available at any time. So that's your backup.
Thank you so much.
Great. We have, in my mind, I was just thinking back while you were talking. I do have a very, very dear friend that I know that has had in the same boat as you are, and I would be willing after we're done to share her name with you. I'm sure the discussion with her would be more than advantageous to both of you. Okay.
Thank you.
So I will share that with you after we're done, and I think she's delightful. I'll just tell her the name, because Jill Hammonds, and I podcasted with her just a few, I can't even remember. I've done 80 of them, so I'm just trying to figure out. It wasn't that long ago, less than 6 months, maybe 3 to 6 months. So
nice.
She's very fresh.
Yeah, I saw so many episodes. I think you're on like 100 and something. It's
close to it.
Really cool.
Now the quality of those, I must admit, are some of them early on. I was stumbling. I fell a couple of times. I broke my nose a couple of times, and it's been a real journey, but it's been fun because it's all kidney, right?
Yeah,
it's all kidney. Yeah,
that's true.
Do you do you in your heart realize that the possibilities are okay? Do you have hope? You feel like we're going to find a donor?
I do. I feel very strongly. Actually, this entire time, which has been different than the times in the past.
Mhm.
A confidence that God hasn't left me up until this point. And
Gosh, I'm glad to hear that.
yeah, and he's not going to do it now.
No,
So
no, no.
I'll be okay. And also, it's been, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but it's been nice to have the experiences that I've had, that have given me a little bit of comfort in knowing that I can continue to take care of myself. I know a little bit about what to expect now. I know how to advocate for myself a little bit better than I used to, and this has really grown me in ways that I wouldn't have before, and it's given me a zest for life, that I wouldn't have appreciated as much until I'd imagine much later. And it makes me very grateful for little things, just for having good people around me like you guys, for having, my friends and family, and, just little things like spending time with my puppy, even though I have
Yeah.
a lot of dialysis, it means I can teach my puppy a lot of tricks, so it's given me just something to be grateful for. And I think, in a lot of ways, maybe this pandemic has for people too. And it's just kind of been a very unique and special way to kind of move through the world and through life.
You're sending chills down my back. I have been faced with this as you get a little bit older. I'm going to go off script here a little bit, but as you age and you have a kidney for as long as I've had it, every turn, everything that you grasp for doesn't mean a thing unless you got faith.
Yeah.
Okay. Unless you have, like you have, if you don't have faith and you don't have hope, you have nothing. And so by what you've just said, you've helped an awful lot of people. I do hope that a lot of people listen to this broadcast, because your attitude is what's holding you. Your faith is what's holding you. And as I get older, I am totally amazed at some of the people I have talked to, you being included, that have a lot of things, and then there are a lot of walls in front of them, right, that they didn't build, but they're still obstructions. They're bumps in the road that require them to make an adjustment mentally and emotionally, along with their physical problems. All right. And it's not lost on me, your gratitude and your positive attitude. It's very contagious, and it also comes back and it's contagious on you. It makes you even stronger. So I applaud you. Again, I just think you've done tremendous against all odds. But just remember in the back of your head and in your heart that there are people out here that want you to do well, and they're with you all the way.
Thank you.
That's never going to change. It will always be there. There'll always be something. No matter the outcome, how this is going to go, you know that you're going to be fine. Okay?
Thanks.
I just, I want to end here. I just feel like you've done a very big service to the kidney community by being Rahwa Daniel. All right. Not about what's going on with you, but with your general attitude and your willingness to speak out and help others. And you've done a tremendous job doing that today, and I appreciate it. Is there anything that you would like to, I have all the time in the world, if there's anything that you would want to expound on or leave with us before we do go? Can you think of anything in your heart?
Thank you. I would just like to ask for prayer, just for continued discernment, and for continued peace over this situation. And if, and if a person feels compelled to maybe get a workup and see if they could feel like sharing some of their kidneys, that would be wonderful. I still I still haven't figured out how to ask somebody for a kidney in a way that doesn't feel crazy. But
there's the old saying, right? It brings to mind, and I'll forget if I don't say it. You just can't go in the back room on the third shelf and pick one off the shelf. It got to come from you, right? You people that are listening, it's got to come from you. You got to step up. Yeah, that is the most important part of this whole process.
Yeah.
Is it's hard to ask. People have a hard time asking.
It's so hard.
Oh, yeah. That's why you need people like us to help you with that. Well, we're glad to ask, right?
Yeah.
And we're glad to assign it. Yeah.
Say thank you, like I feel like it's not really even sufficient, but I can't wait to be healthy again. Just thinking about it makes me feel like sunshine again, to get off of dialysis, to live a long life, to have tons of energy, to play tennis again, and to, play with my dog, and just little things that I'm just really looking forward to.
That's why we have transplants.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we have transplants.
Yeah. And
so consequently, what we have is a desire for someone out there. Someone, you want to talk about a God moment. Someone right now is listening that can help you, right? They know they can help you. And all they got to do is call me, call you, email us, text us, do whatever. Go through kidneysolutions.org. We'll figure it out. And we have answers. People have answers for donors. Donors don't have to walk around thinking, well, what if I do this? What happens? There are answers, good answers, solid answers. And there are donors out there that want to talk to you. Okay. If you're a donor, a potential donor, you want to be a donor, there's several ways to do it. You don't have to wait and just sign your card. You can do a living donation. You can live with one kidney. It's done. My brother's done it for 34 years. So, and many people are doing it with no consequence. All right. Yeah, I'll have to admit there are experiences that you might have that, cause you consternation. Life's not going to change just because you got a kidney or gave a kidney. It's going to go on, but at least you'll be healthy to meet it. And that's what Rahwa's asking here. Just bring her back to health. She's not asking for something you have. She's just asking you to restore her health. That's all. That's not a big task. Not a big task at all if you think about it. But anyway, that's my take on it. Given you all those things get returned in like, so don't go around thinking that you don't have the answers, because we have them. So give us a call. Rahwa, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna sign off now. I'm gonna talk to my folks, but stick around just for a second. I really appreciated you coming on.
This was awesome. Thank you for letting me share my story. It's been really nice to talk.
Okay, folks, listen. I've been getting back. I'm sorry for, coughing and hacking. I'm really in good shape. Anyway, take a look at yourself, from the inside out. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you a couch potato? Are you working out? Are you doing the things that you need to be doing to stay healthy? There are so many of us out here that work hard every day just to maintain a level of survival. So if you have kidney disease and you haven't got a clue what to do, give us a call. Give us a call at Kidney Solutions and we'll help you with it. All right. We offer no cures, but we will do whatever we can to assist you and guide you and get you into the right spot. And we'll do it all for free. So tell you what, from here on out, pay attention to your body, pay attention to your mind, and be your own advocate. But most of all, say your prayers for Rahwa. Let's bring someone in that can help Rahwa here. That's what we're praying for. And there's several others on the Kidney Solutions website. There are several others out there on Facebook, on Instagram, all over social media. They're crying out for a transplant. And there are so many people out there that could give a donated kidney or part of a liver and make somebody's day. I mean, it's that simple. It's just a matter of praying about it, thinking about it, and getting your answers to all the questions you have, and then going ahead and do it. Okay, enough from me today. Come back, pay attention, listen to this on podcast. If you're listening to it, send it out and share it with everybody that you can. This information is life-saving. So until the next time, keep breathing.